welcome back to another ride talk. You can see the car parked here in the no standing zone, pretty funny. That's how we're starting off our day. I was just at the mall picking up a couple of things, you'll see later. And yeah, it's about 10 degrees today. We're going to start off here in Richmond and ride to Port Melbourne, check out Princess Pier, and then have a little skate in a kind of like a street spot underneath the bridge. We'll check that out. And yeah, going to ride next to the Yarra River, so it should be a pretty fun ride. So yeah, we're just in Richmond at the moment, and we're riding straight towards the river, and there's actually a bike path right next to Yarra River that goes all the way into the city. I think the last few times that I've ridden in the city, I've kind of taken the busiest streets to get there just to show you guys, but this time I'm going to take you more on a bike path which is away from cars and probably a little bit more scenic. And you can see today it's pretty rip over day. There's no clouds in the sky at all. It is about 10 degrees, so a little bit cooler, but I think it's meant to be a high of 12 degrees. So yeah, looking forward to that. For people that don't know, it's actually winter here in Melbourne, and it's been rainy here and there and yeah, windy and stuff, but today is a pretty nice day. I think some people from colder climates would probably think, yeah, it's pretty funny, like 10 degrees isn't cold at all, but yeah, once you get used to it, 10 degrees is cold. So we just passed Bridge Road there, one of the main streets that goes all the way into the city. I've ridden there before in some other videos. But yeah, it was funny, I just recently locked my bike up there just for maybe like half hour. And then when I came back, someone tried to crack my lock open. Luckily I had a good D-lock, so yeah, it's during the day, so it might seem safe, but yeah, make sure you have a good lock on you, and yeah, you should be fine. And as we're riding away from the main roads, you can see some of the architecture that Melbourne has. This is more kind of residential. You see some more of the old houses, you'll see a lot of trees still here. There have been newer developments as well, but I think by law they have to put in some trees and stuff. So yeah, it's good to keep the place pretty green. And then even off the main roads, you'll get cafes and just small shops like sprinkled throughout. You'll either always get on the big corners either a cafe or a pub, which is pretty funny. You always see those on the corners of big streets. I think in Australia, a pretty common thing in Melbourne anyway. People love their coffee and they love their booze. This road that we're riding on is where they have a lot of the car dealerships, all your luxury cars. I think basically it's close to the city, and this is where they can get a bit of space as well. So you'll get brands like Ferrari, McLaren, kind of more of those high-end cars. So if you're ever thinking about buying one, you can come here. Here's just a tram passing by. You might notice those yellow lines on the ground. If you don't know, those yellow lines are for the tram, so make sure you stay on the left side of it, otherwise you could be in the way. And then another thing is just be careful your wheel doesn't get stuck within the tram tracks. Make sure when you're crossing them, you just cross them a bit more perpendicular and you should be fine. So yeah, we just chucked the left here and we're heading towards closer to the river again. On the right here we got a pretty nice big park called Barclay Gardens. So yeah, there's a few ways to get to the river here. I'm just taking kind of like the straightest route. But on the other side of Barclay Gardens, you can also take the road straight down, and there's a few more parks that lead you all the way there. But here, yeah, just taking this one just because it's a little bit closer. It goes past. You can see I'm going to hang a left here. It just goes past this kind of building. I'm not sure what this building is actually. It looks like some type of, I don't know, like battery reactor or something like that. But yeah, there's a small path around here, you can just ride through it, and then you can ride down these ramps. Just be careful of cars and stuff, and then it goes all the way down. Pretty nice little downhill area, and you don't really see a lot of cars here either, so it makes it pretty handy. Yeah, you can fly down here. Just make sure your brakes work when you're flying down here, because you have to brake towards the end. You'll see if you don't have good brakes, you just kind of shoot straight into the water. But yeah, you always have to brake here because there's people riding along the bike path, and I think that corner, this right corner, is a little bit blind. But yeah, here we are, straight onto the bike path, and you can see it's pretty nice, right next to the water. Little bridges here, more graffiti on the right, as common in Melbourne. So yeah, a lot of the bridges you'll see graffiti going up. And then here there's also a free kind of rock climbing place. They have 3 walls there, which is pretty fun. And yeah, you can go there for free, climb the walls if you're into rock climbing. I think they have 3 different difficulties of walls, but yeah, I have only been there a few times. But then yeah, as you ride along here, I guess it could be quite tight. I had my skateboard on there, but yeah, usually people aren't flying past here. There's a lot of walkers and stuff, so I just take it pretty chill. But yeah, super nice path. You can see they have this little path that kind of sits on the water, and yeah, it's quite cool because it feels like you're riding on the water itself. And depending on how high the water level is, so if it's been raining a lot, the water level gets higher and higher, and yeah, it makes you feel, feels pretty cool when you're riding on it. But yeah, it's a straight path all the way there. You can see no cars. There's a highway on the right, and yeah, this bridge above there crosses into Paran, which I went past before. But yeah, we're just kind of going underneath here, following the river all the way. But yeah, pretty scenic ride overall. Definitely would recommend it if you come to Melbourne for a visit. It's called the Main Yarra Trail, but yeah, it goes for quite long, so you just have to look on a map. And yeah, recently I've also haven't chucked my bell on. I watched Luke's video, Soma's video about bells, and it kind of inspired me to maybe chuck one on my bike, one of my bikes at least, just to see how it goes. I thought it would be handy here when I was passing kids and family. Sometimes it needs a little bit of a buzz. But yeah, you'll see later on when I ride through the city, probably would have been handy to have it there. So yeah, here's probably, you can probably see it a bit better. You can see there's a highway next to the path, and then the Yarra River on the left. But yeah, we're just riding to this kind of DIY skate spot, and I think it used to be like a pre-sale skate spot back a few years ago. When COVID was happening, people kind of went there and built it all up, painted all the curbs and everything, and made it like a super sick spot. And then over the years, I think it got turned back into a car park, so a lot of cars parked there, and then I guess COVID was over, so people didn't really skate there as much. But yeah, I've ridden past there a few times, and it looks pretty good. Maybe it just needs a little bit of a clean up, a little bit of a wax up. But yeah, it definitely still looks skatable. The last few times I rode past it, there was no cars there, so maybe I could get it, go in there and have a little bit of a skate, get it back in action. But yeah, we'll see how we go. You can see here it's just on the right underneath the bridge, that car park there. Again, yeah, no one. I think this was a weekday, and yeah, there was no one here. So you can see, however, they did put the yellow poles up right here on the right, just to block cars from going in. So I'm not sure what's going on with this area at the moment, but yeah, good for me, I guess. No cars here. But yeah, you can see they've repainted all the lines here. I think it used to be a bit more run down, but it seems pretty clean today. And yeah, we're going to check it out. You can see all the red curbs there. There's like they have been waxed up and painted, but you can see some of the bits have chipped up. There's kind of rubble and stuff everywhere, lots of little rocks, and there's a little quarter pipe there. But yeah, this is it. This is the spot. So yeah, we'll unload and give it a little check out. This is what it looks like, just carrying all this stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to find a better way just to make it a bit more streamlined, but seems like it's working for now. Here's the spot. You can see, yeah, some of the concrete came up. This little ramp is all kind of rubble now. Just put my bike there. No one's coming here. And the ramp still looks super good. Hasn't changed the condition. And here there used to be a kind of like a curved slappy ledge, but you can see it's been broken out, and the ledge itself looks pretty rough. Tons of chips, tons of little rocks everywhere, a little trash bin over there. Not sure what's going on with that. And then you can see they used to have concrete all the way up to this ledge, so you could skate a bit better, but it's all came up. And then yeah, there's also this other side that kind of goes downhill into this ledge, or this curb. But yeah, you can see it's pretty rough. People skate the drain too with the classic VB can. The drain looks, the top of the drain of the curb looks super smooth. So yeah, probably a bit easier to skate. And this side of the car park is untouched. There is a mani pad there and a mani pad there that people skate. And these are all the ledges. I usually skate the top ones because I feel like you get a better run up, or it's easier to hit the curb. It is also a little bit uphill, and uphill slant, so it can get a little bit annoying at the start, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad. And then here you can see the curbs are kind of pretty rough condition, so I'm basically looking for the smoothest area to skate, and usually you can tell by it being the less chipped with the most wax. But yeah, you can still see there's heaps of rocks and stuff. So yeah, got to give it a clean. And yeah, if you see these caps around, just make sure there's no needles around. That's a needle cap. But yeah, this is basically what I got from the store. I got a candle, $2.25 from Kmart, pretty good I guess. Look for the hard candle, they slide a bit better. And I found this brush. It did have a handle on it, but I took it off just to make it a bit easier to ride today. And I didn't want the handle to be in the shot the whole time I'm riding today. But yeah, time to give it a bit of a clean up and skate. I don't know if you noticed, but those few front side grinds, it was actually the next day. You can see the color of my undershirt changed. But yeah, I'm super hyped with this spot. I've been trying to find a good slappy spot that I can go to and skate, and I think this spot's really good. I'm really into it. You can it just needs a little bit of cleanup and just some wax here and there, but I figure, you know, if I go there more often, every time I go I can clean it up a little bit more and give it a little bit more wax, and it should be sliding sweet. Big shout out to the people who built it up. I'm sure it took like tons of effort to do it up, and I don't know too much about the history of it, but I know a few skaters do watch my videos sometimes, so yeah, if you're watching and you know the history, let me know. Andy. Anyway, we're back riding towards the city now. You can see I'm kind of all charged up after skating. My legs are going again, so riding a bit faster now. And yeah, we're just riding next to the river, and we're going to head towards Port Melbourne, Princess Pier. So yeah, just riding towards the city on the shared path, and you can see up ahead is that stadium that I talked about in the last couple of vids. But then today we're going to cross the river and ride on the left hand side of the river. I usually take the right hand side, but just today I'm going to cross the river and ride on the left hand side because I never really take it, and I thought it's a super nice day. It'd be nice to kind of check out different routes. I don't know about you, but every time I ride, I like to ride somewhere slightly different, just to switch it up a bit and keep things exciting. And that's the good thing about bikes, is you can just kind of just ride wherever. If you want to go off the road, just turn and try it out. Pretty nice. But yeah, here we're technically in the Melbourne neighborhood. Botanical Gardens is on the left, which is really big, and I guess they decided to keep Botanical Gardens in the actual Melbourne neighborhood area. Usually people think of Melbourne as the Melbourne CBD, but yeah, this is technically included as the Melbourne neighborhood. But yeah, you can see riding along the river here, you got the skyline or the city in the background, you got people out on boats, you got people walking, people exercising, walking their dogs or whatever. Pretty chill. And also, I think this bike path is also quite close to the river itself. You can see it's only a couple meters away, so yeah, you get to really enjoy the quietness. It's actually it's school holidays at the moment, so you probably see a lot of kids out, hanging out and doing activities and stuff like that. But yeah, as we ride here, this is kind of getting close to City Park, just underneath this bridge. I took it before, but this time I'm going to see if I can ride a little bit closer to the water, just to get a little bit of a feeling for it. Usually you can see just on the left path here, just up here, that path is usually the area you go to the city skate park. But this time I'm actually just going to go straight. Also, a good thing that I took the left side of the river today. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, but across from on the right hand side of the river, there's been a lot of construction going on. And yeah, I don't know, it's been there for a while, probably like 6 months or so, but you can't ride right next to the river, so you got to go a little bit further away. So I think today was pretty good. You can see also the path thins out a bit, so I decided to go up here and yeah, just ride next to it. The path is quite thin, so I think having a bike and a person there probably wouldn't be good, so I just rode up here. But yeah, still pretty cool. You can still see people on the boats out, some kind of construction going on still on the right hand side with the big crane. And then here on the left you got all the canoes or the kayaks that people kind of train and they race. All the little boat houses here as well. That's a common thing to see on the Yarra. And then up ahead you can start to see that's the main bridge of Melbourne. And on the right, that bridge is Fett Square and Flinders Street Station. So it's gonna get busier now, but I think it's quite cool with all the palm trees here. Reminds me of like Miami or something. Pretty funny. I don't know if they were imported in or whatever. But yeah, technically now we're in South Bank, which is on the other side of the river, close to the city. So this is a slightly different neighborhood, but I'd still like, if you come to Melbourne, you just call Melbourne and its surrounding neighborhoods Melbourne. I think most people would reference that. But yeah, this is technically South Bank. So yeah, this is probably the busy area of Melbourne if you want to kind of ride and test your skills or see how good you're at weaving people. You can go here, but yeah, just remember, basically, the law is you got to give way to pedestrians. So, and I think you're not meant to go more than 10 kilometers an hour. So, yeah, just be careful. But yeah, it's quite fun. A lot of things going on. You can see everyone's out at the restaurants, and yeah, a lot of people out. Such a nice day. Everyone's kind of like out having fun, enjoying the weather. I think there's also kind of like an unwritten rule where on the very right hand side, that's where all the bike goes. You can see I'm actually just riding on the left, but on the right hand side, usually that's where all the bikers go. But I kind of just go wherever it's clear. There really is no rule, especially when there's not a lot of bikes going on. I think during rush hour, more of the bikes go on the right hand side. I don't know if you can see, but there's green kind of like metal dividers on the ground. You can see here on the right. It's almost kind of like a makeshift fence. So this lane is usually where the bikers go, but yeah, I don't think since there's a lot of tourists and a lot of people visiting, you don't really get too many people following that, but it's kind of like a makeshift fence, I guess. My guess is the way of the design, like unintentional design of having people use certain lanes, but I don't know. I could be wrong. That's just what I think. But you will see up here when we cross this road, there actually is 2 bike lanes on the right where pedestrians aren't meant to cross. It's meant to be strictly for bike lanes. Yeah, you can see right here on the ground, left and right. So they kind of already positioned these lanes on the right hand side of the pathway. So yeah, maybe it could be intentional design. But yeah, once you cross, you just like there's no it's not really there's really no rules. I guess it's just kind of like a guide. But yeah, we'll keep going on, and here it ends up being a bit more open. There's also, you might hear some music coming out from the restaurants as well. They try to keep this area kind of pumping. So yeah, you kind of feel the city's energy when you're riding through here, which is pretty cool as well. And they got those open areas on the right where I don't know if it's real grass or astroturf, but you can kind of hang out there and chill out and just look at the city views, which is pretty cool. Along these paths, there's also bridges every now and then, so if you want to cross to the other side, you also can if you get stuck. Some of them you can ride bikes on, some of them you can't, so yeah, just look for signs to see what you can and can't do. But yeah, up here we're basically reaching towards Crown Casino, probably one of the busier areas, and then also Exhibition Centre. And then the Exhibition Centre goes to DFO, which is Direct Factory Outlets, which is full of shops and stuff. We'll ride past there one day, but today we won't. Today we're actually gonna, once we hit this road, we're gonna take a left. You can see a lot of people out trying to dodge them all. Yeah, we're just gonna take a left up here, and then we're gonna ride into Port Melbourne. But yeah, I ended up just taking the road. I didn't want to ride on the path anymore. It does get a bit busy on this road, but I think because it's early in the day, there's less cars out. I kind of missed the morning work rush, I guess, morning commute. But yeah, it is a pretty big lane, and there are train tracks when you're crossing here, so if you're thinking of doing this, just be careful. You can see here I wanted to go on the bike path up there, but there's too many people, so I had to ride around them. But yeah, there's a tiny bike path on the right, but it just goes back to this shared path anyway. But yeah, after that, you can see once you're away from the busy area, just like 5 minutes away, there's basically no people at all. So that's kind of what Melbourne is like. You get super busy areas, but then you also get areas as soon as you ride away from it for like 2 minutes, it becomes not busy, which I think is pretty cool about Melbourne, because if you want to, you want to be in the busy area, be in with all the action, you can do it. And then if you just want to chill out, you can just, you can escape it really quick, which is pretty cool. I don't think every city is like that, but yeah, I think Melbourne is pretty nice in that aspect. So yeah, what I wanted to talk about today was this idea of perfection. And I think probably when I was growing up, just because I studied design and did design for a long time, I was kind of always chasing it. You would need to have, the perfect typeface. You need everything to line up by, like if something was off by like 0.5 millimeter, you would like notice it. And you try to carry that stuff to print. If it didn't print exactly a certain way, then you'd be kind of annoy you, or you'd be bummed as well. And I'm not sure if other people have this, but you even in life, you want some stuff to go a certain way, or you want things to be absolutely perfect. Even I think that habit still reigns true even in my bike builds, probably my earlier bike restorations. I would want every speck of rust to be off, and like everything to be super clean, have all kind of like matching bolts and everything, and matching patina. And basically what I realized like over years and years and years and years is that at the end of the day, it's never it's never going to be exactly perfect. And I think it's really about just embracing, or just coming to coming to terms with that. Hey, when you do something, it's not going to be perfect. I think a lot of times you can also kind of get paralyzed by having this idea of perfection in your head because you want to achieve it, and then often you might want everything to be perfect before you even start, but then the hurdle becomes so big that you don't start anyway. It's funny though, because if you see something that is, or you do a project that's perfect, or you see something that is too perfect, it also kind of feels a bit cold and lacks character, feels a little bit sterile as well. And for me, for some reason, it just kind of lacks any type of substance. And for me, I don't think I don't think chasing perfection is a bad thing, because that's kind of like how you get good at stuff. That's where you kind of learn and all that jazz. But to expect perfection is a whole different issue. It's kind of like going to the skate spot today and expecting everything to be perfect, like slides perfect, no rocks everywhere, no rubble, no uphill, everything is just perfect and all the tricks came easy. I feel like if it was like that, then it probably wouldn't be that fun. And if I did have the expectation that it was going to be like that, I'd be really disappointed and have a bad time. I think a big part of it is just, and it might come with experience, it's just setting expectations. Like, I know going to that spot, it is going to be a bit rougher. It is going to, it might not work out the way I want it to work out. But if I go there and clean it up and wax it up every time, it's just going to get better and better. And I think it's the same for most things as well. Just even a bike, bike build, if you look for a secondhand bike that's going to be perfect already before you even restore it or fix it up, you'll be pretty hard pressed trying to find one in perfect condition in Melbourne. And if you wait around and look for one, you'll probably end up never finding one, or it would just take so long. I think the idea is to just reframe your expectations. Like, hey, the bike's not going to be the best condition, but I'll be able to fix it up. It will have a bit of character, and I'll get it as close as I want, or close as what I want, maybe like 90% there when it's finished. And then if you reframe it like that, then you can kind of aim towards that, and that becomes a more achievable result. Another thing that kind of adds to that is if you do each part as best as you can, like, hey, I'm going to clean this part off really well, or I'm going to fix up this lever really well. If you do each part as best you can, by the end of the build, you are going to have something that's pretty close to perfect once all those things are added up as well. And then sometimes having that room to allow for imperfections, like not having all matching parts and using different types of things that you might not normally work on with your bike, sometimes you might have an unexpected surprise where certain combinations of things will work, or something happens that you didn't expect, and then what ends up happening, it becomes perfect in its own right. I'm sure you've seen bike builds that you might not expect people to build them a certain way, and that they all use the kind of same components that are available. But what ends up happening, it comes up with a unique build, and then you really see like, hey, that's perfect for the person who built it, and it looks super cool because it's kind of an expression of themselves. And to me, that's kind of what makes it quote unquote perfect. I think those builds are always the coolest, or the ones that I like the most. So I guess what I learned is really, it's like shifting the needle of what is perfection in my book. And it's not, everything is super clean, everything is super tidy, everything is by the books. It's really perfect in its own way. And I think if you allow for that, and kind of change your perspective, or what my perspective used to be, that really that really helped me. Alright, so you can see we finally made it to Princess Pier. This is where the old dock used to be. You can see all the wooden stilts. And yeah, here's a little look around. It's pretty scenic here, pretty quiet today, no one out. But yeah, sometimes they have people bring their speakers here, they ride around, there's roller skating, yeah, skateboard sometimes, and yeah, just people hanging out. But yeah, super serene today, weather's great. You can see a few people come here and they fish just to hang out. And yeah, here's the bike. The bike's going pretty strong, I think. One of the things I want to do with the bike is I might change the crate out, because the issue I have is strapping the skateboard on and off. I just want something I can chuck my skateboard in. But yeah, other than that, it's been going strong. You can see I also rode single speed here all the way, which was actually surprisingly easy. It was no issue at all, and I didn't even feel that bad after skating and riding as well. Here you can see at the end of the dock there's the cargo ships out there. Maybe they're cargo ships, I'm not sure what they're called exactly, but you can see them out there. And then yeah, here's kind of the view. You can see they have an actual cargo dock there, so that's, you see a lot of the ships coming in. And then yeah, more ships that go to Tasmania there. I ended up riding to the other lookout, but yeah, I lost some of the footage. But yeah, here it is, just a quick time warp right there. You can just ride along the beach. There's a bike path all the way along the beach, and it isn't too far. But yeah, you can see where that grey box is, that's where the lookout is. And yeah, it's a pretty nice ride along there. There's a large playground there if you have kids, which is cool. And then you can see Melbourne skyline from here. Here I am at the top of the lookout, and you can see just the dock, and then here's just a view of Melbourne. You can probably see like St Kilda over there, and then yeah, like Port Melbourne, more ships here that go to Tassie. And then yeah, this is the dock that I was just on. You can see that little greenhouse there. That's where I was. I just rode around the beach, and you can also see yeah, the skyline, and even the Ferris wheel at Docklands. So yeah, you can really see the whole city from here, which is pretty cool. Just some more construction stuff over there. I'm not sure what that is, but yeah, pretty cool. And then you can see the backside of the dock there, or the cargo place. And then here there's this grey lookout thing, but you can't actually go on top, so it must just be some type of sculpture or something. And then here, just park the bike right there. But yeah, beautiful view. And yeah, if you're into ships, you can kind of see what that ship is. Not sure what it is, since they all kind of look the same on the diagram. But yeah, you can leave a comment and see if you can pick the right one if you're into that. But yeah, pretty fun watching all the ships go in and out as well. And then here, just walk down the ramp below, and then yeah, there's some you can see how clear the water is. Looks quite refreshing actually, with all the greenery growing there, and it's quite clear as well. You can just hang out in the sun on the rocks, which is quite nice. Yes, I recommend like coming out here if you're ever in Melbourne. It's a good, nice little ride, nice little lookout. Thanks for coming along the ride. Hope you liked it. Let me know what you think, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.